And welcome back to Stiglr for the details. We're trundling on in Donau front, and we are now at turn three on the Warsaw Pact's operation. Or actually, no. We're on the NATO um, operations phase. So let's see here. When last we left, the Warsaw Pact made some moves to bring the Czechs up in the south to get in and around all of these hardy mountain units, Gebergs units, and to consolidate several tank and motor rifle divisions here at the hard point of the line, um, and to also start to move the Czechs in around the northern flank of the NATO line. And also, if you're a little disoriented, remember that north is to the right of the screen. So, here we have the NATO second operations phase, and we're probably going to use that to bring some of the reinforcements that came on in the first operations phase farther to the east and set up to try and contain what will certainly be the next breakout attempt by the Warsaw Pact. So let's start in the south here. We got some really nice French armored units here, and also a engineer unit here in case we need that. And that should help us seal off this major Autobahn line that leads directly to Munich itself. So it looks to me like we should probably maybe move the French in here as far as Air Golding and this area here, and then maybe eventually move these West German units out to the south to form a stronger line here to the far south. So to do that, let's see. Now keep in mind we can only move the units that have their strength and range values printed in white. That's the friction point side, which also tells us in later operations phase that these units moved in the first operations phase. If you do not move in that first operations phase, like say these units here, then you are not eligible to move in the second or subsequent operations phases. Although for artillery, they can participate in artillery support missions, gaining a friction point as they do so, but they can't move. So let's look at this, and we should be able to get some armor down into this area here, or maybe we might even want to think about backstopping a line here using these woods and the villages to stop any overrun attempts. Yeah, this kind of looks like a good position, but whether or not these units are really going to be able to get there is another thing. We might be able to, say, use these units that have already arrived, these two armored units, maybe move them into this area and then move these reinforcements in to take their place. Let's see how this works out in terms of operations points. You'll also recall that operations in the second and subsequent phases are slowed by the fact that for every attack you launch and for every individual hex that you move into, you pay an operations point cost. So even if you're moving along the roads, it quickly chews up your operations point cost. So if we move here, that would be 2. They could move through the friendly town. They can't end stack with the Germans, but they can move through the town. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, or maybe through here. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That unit could get here. What's the best spot for him? What's the extent of the line you're going to be able to form? This unit here is pinned by the Soviet airborne unit, so for him to move to a position further north, he would have to risk a disengagement die roll, and just trying to leave would cost 6 operations points. So I don't really think that's too much of an option there. So let's move this unit here. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Give them a friction point. The tail. Move this unit to 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Give him a friction point. Get rid of the movement trail. Now that we've got that, let's move these French units here. See how far down here we can get them. Okay, Autobahns cost a total of 1 per hex. So the half a movement point cost is then doubled in later operations phases. So they cost a point or 1 movement point or operations point each hex. So first let's let friction point 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Maintain the zone of control border there. Next unit will take a friction point. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6, 8, 10, 12. His there. Then we've got the artillery, which we want in the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11. Give him a friction point. Get rid of the tail. 1. The friction point. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's start moving him across the river. Well, this the bridge on the freeway is blown, so it's going to cost him 2 amphibious points to cross the river at some point. He wants to eventually get down to this area, but the access roads don't really seem like they're cooperating except here. So let's retrace that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get there. 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10.5. That's going to basically do it. Yeah. All right, that's all for those French units. Now these French units, let's get them down here too. The freeway looks like the best approach. It's just going to be a little bit expensive to get there. So let's bump their friction point level up. And let's move them individually for now. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's going to be it. We'll keep the artillery stacked with them. Track. Air mobile still doesn't really have a place. Still well within range to do helicopter combat. We'll just leave them there. Or actually, they didn't move in the first phase, so they can't move now. Moving up here, now we're into the German reinforcements, and we've got more. The 10th Division, which is coalescing in this area here. And actually, it's a mixture of 10 and 1G units, so anywhere there is going to be helpful. Let's aim for this area because the Czechs look like they might be trying to break out there. I'm not going to get very far. So every 2 hexes along a road is going to be 3 movement points. So 3, 6, 9, 12. That's there. Give them a friction point. Trail. 3, 6, 9, 12. Friction point. Friction point. That's all for the Germans. Okay, here, let's see, what are we going to do about these units? We don't want them to get surrounded, but we probably wouldn't mind maybe pinning these Czech units by getting around in their rear. I think these units are still going to prove to be pretty hardy at stopping up this area. And then we've also got this artillery unit, which is a long-range artillery unit that's kind of ventured up. Let's see if we can't get into a little mischief here. 2, 3, these wooded clear hexes cost 4 each. 4, 8, 10, 12. Friction point there. Then here, friction point there, and oh wait, these units did not move in the initial phase, so they can't do that. So let's move them both back and lower their friction point exposure. Get rid of their trails. They are stuck there. Also remember that this is the seam of the game map, so these units here are not in play. Okay, I believe that might almost do it for the NATO ops phase. These units that are now encircled didn't move first. They still can't. Don't have any attacks that we want to launch, certainly. Over here, these are some fairly hardened airborne units. I don't see us launching any attacks anytime soon. The only time it really makes sense for NATO to launch an attack is if they can manage to create an encirclement and get that double strength bonus. And even at that, you'd probably only want to attack a unit that you have a chance to actually destroy. It's really, really difficult to get high odds against these big Soviet regiments with strengths from 10 to 14. And even these airborne units with 4 strengths are not easy to pile up a lot of odds on. And you really need high odds for a reasonable chance at success using this system. Okay. I think that's going to do it for the NATO phase. And so that would move us to a possible Warsaw Pax operations phase 3. And I don't think a lot is going to happen here because we've got some wearying Soviet units that are at the tip of the spear. Most notably in this area here, we have this unit with 4 out of the 6 points necessary to kill it. And it was not even able to force this unit into elimination. This unit here is at the brink and is adjacent, so it's pretty much still hors de combat, but they were not able to apply the coup de grace because we now have at least one artillery unit that is within range that could add 2, 3, 4, 5 that could add to the combat, and so that would risk this unit taking a 5th friction point to launch the attack and then taking a combat result loss that would make for a total of 6, and that would kill it. So that was a risk not worth taking. This unit here is at 5, so it's at the brink and can't expend any points right now either. We've got some Czech units, which are, let's see, those are Czech units or regiments too, so they have 6 points to give, and they're at 4. So I don't really see them expending any further operations points right now. The units moving in behind for consolidation are at 3 friction points, and probably aren't going to be able to actually move up to a spot where they would then be able to launch a better initial assault at the beginning of the next turn, so it's probably not worth the friction to move them up. These units might be another story. That might be worth it to give them a third friction point and move them up into this area here. And I believe that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to select the whole kit and caboodle of this division and bump them up a friction point, and now move. Starting here, we've got 2, 3, 4 to move there. Then access road makes for 6. Then 8. Then access road again, but we're entering a city. 10, 11. There we go. Going here, 2 plus 1 is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So basically, we're going to get to do a little bit of follow the leader. They move 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Move there. See the helicopter units. Do I want to move them? Yeah, eventually they've got to get there. So we'll give them a friction point. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 to get there. This would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's as far as they'll get. The rest of the units will not move. So you don't have any other units in the back. Now we got to figure out what we're going to do here, and I think we're going to rest up here. So that's going to do it for Warsaw Pact Ops Phase number 3. Now we go back to NATO, and let's see, do they want to do any more? Yeah, I think they might want to press the French a little bit more. Let's see, they have 5 and they're at 3. So one more, it's going to make them kind of brittle. No, they won't. These units, however, we'll add a friction point to this unit and move it 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. That's good. These units will give them added friction. 3, 3, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 10.5, 11.5. There we go. That's good. These units here. Yeah. Let's see. It's going to be difficult to get them farther north because the roads are moving just to the east. Um, hmm, 3, 4, yeah. Let's give them an added friction point. 3 along the main road, 5 to cross the river, 6, 7 to get there, and now 7. Now we've got access roads. 7 to 9, that would make 11. Move them in along with them. These units, give them a friction point, and 3, 6, 9, 12. 3, 6, 9, 12. And that, oh, this unit, yeah, let's move them down. Added friction, 3, 6, 9, 12. There we are. Okay, that's going to do it. Now we get to a 4th Warsaw Pact operations phase, and they are not going to use that. So that will mean the end of game turn 3. All right. So I'll make a note here of turn 3. And I do hope, yes, I have started a log file. Good. All right. So that's going to be this end of game turn 3. Let's just set up for the beginning of turn 4. And, or no, actually, I should probably start turn 4 with moving the track along, determining who has air superiority and all of that. So this is a good ending spot, and this makes for a nice about half-hour episode. That's just great. So here we are at the end of game turn 3, and both sides are consolidating for the next phase of the battle, and that's going to do it. So I've been Alan or Stiglr, and we will see you on the next episode of Stiglr for the details.